Alright, so if we're looking at our practice test, number 1 says grapes cost $1.99 per pound. Write and solve an equation that tells me how many pounds of grapes you bought if you spent $7.96. So I know that I have $1.99 per my pounds of grapes, and that I spent that equals $7.96. So there's your equation. That's the first part. Second part asks you to solve it. So how do we solve that? Okay, so we're going to divide by what? $1.99. $1.99. $4. So I would have bought 4 pounds of grapes. Okay, so let's look at number 2. Number 2 says today's temperature is 3 degrees warmer than yesterday's temperature. If yesterday's temperature is represented by T, write and solve an equation for yesterday's temperature. If today it is 71 degrees. Okay, so we have our temperature, and it is 3 degrees warmer, so we're going to add 3, and that's going to equal 71 degrees. Okay, so T plus 3, because it's 3 degrees warmer, equals the 71 degrees that it currently is. Okay, so how do I solve that for T? Subtract 3. Okay, so I will subtract 3. What's 71 minus 3? 68. So my temperature yesterday then, or today, would be 68. Alright, so there's our first 2. If we look at number 3, we're asked to evaluate the following if P equals 5 and Q equals 1. So number 3 is Q times P. So Q is 1, P is 5, so 1 times 5 is 5. We do the same thing down here. Q is 1, P is 5, and we're adding them. So that would give me 6. Okay, so any questions on 3 or 4? Okay. So if we look at number 5, that's when we begin solving equations. So to solve the equations, 9 plus A equals negative 12. Okay, so what's going to be my first step? Subtract 9. Subtract 9. What's negative 12? Negative 21. So A would equal negative 21. Okay, if we look at number 6, T minus 1/4 equals 7/8. Add 1/4. Add 1/4. And those cancel, and I get T equals. What has to be the same in order to add fractions? Denominator. Okay, so let's make this denominator 8. What do I need to multiply to make it 8? 2. 4 times 2 is 8. So this actually becomes 8 and 2. So 2 over 8. So that's what I'm going to add. I'm going to add 2 8s. Okay, so then when I do that, my denominator stays 8 because now they're the same, and 7 plus 2 is 9. So T would equal 9 over 8. Okay, if we look at number 7, 35 equals 5x. How do I solve that? Divide by 5. Divided by 5 is 7. So x would equal 7. Alright, a few more of those. Negative 30 equals n over 3. So to get rid of that division, I multiply by 3 on both sides. What's 3 times 3? So we get negative 90. Alright. If we look at number 9, number 9 is our first 2-step equation problem. So we get k over 5 minus 6 equals 2. What's my first step? Add 6. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So then I get k over 5 equals, what's 2 plus 6? 8. Now I multiply it by 5 on both sides. Those 5's cancel. What's 8 times 5? 40. So K would equal 40. Alright, so at number 10, 7x minus 19x equals 24. Okay, so I'm going to combine these. Combine my like terms. What's 7x minus 19x? Negative 12x. So negative 12x equals 24. Now what? Divide. So we'll divide by negative 12. Divide by negative 12. 24 divided by negative 12 is negative 2. So x would equal negative 2. Alright, we look at number 11. Negative a minus 3 plus 7 equals 3a. We have a lot going on, so let's start by combining like terms. I have this minus 3 plus 7 equals 4. So I get negative a plus 4 equals 3a. Now I'm going to combine my a's. So this is like a 1a, and how do I get rid of a minus 1a? Add 1a. So I'm going to add 1a to both sides. That then cancels. I bring down my 4. 3 plus 1 is 4a. And what's going to be my last step? Divide by 4. Divide by 4. So what does a then equal? 1. Okay, do we have any questions on number 11? Okay, if we look at number 12, negative 1 times x minus 4, that quantity equals 2x plus 6. Okay, so we need to distribute this negative 1. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x. Negative 1 times that minus 4 gives me a positive 4, because a negative times a negative is a positive. And then I have 2x plus 6. That stays the same. Okay, so we need to combine our x's. So do you want to move the minus 1x or the 2x? 2x, okay, it's positive 2x. How do I move it? Negative 2x. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Okay, then on the right side, all I have left is a 6, so I bring that down. Negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3, so negative 3x plus 4 equals 6. Alright, so what's next? Subtract 4, subtract 4. So negative 3x equals, what's 6 minus 4? 2. So negative 3x equals 2. What's my last step? Divide by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. Does 2 divide evenly by negative 3? No, so we're just going to leave it as a fraction, 2 over negative 3. Alright, so that was the last of our solving equations problem. Then we get into what we did a couple days ago, which is solving for the indicated variable. So on number 13, we have y equals mx plus b, and we're solving it for b. So we need to get our b by itself. So what do we need to get rid of then? We get rid of the mx, and we're going to do it by subtracting mx from both sides of my equation. Those then cancel. If I bring down my b, then I end up with y minus mx equals b. I can't combine the m or the x with the y because they're all different variables. They all represent something different. So we just have to leave it as is. Okay, so any questions on 13? Alright, if we look at 14, C equals N over 360, and we're solving that for N. So if I'm solving that for N, then what do I need to get rid of? The 360, so how do I do it? Multiply by 360. And I'm going to multiply by 360. Those then cancel. Bring my N straight down, and 360 times C gives me 360C. So N would equal 360C. Alright, so any questions on 14 or on solving for indicated variables? Oh wait, 15 is when we start getting into absolute value equations. So we're given the absolute value equation, x plus 6 equals 21. So my first step, now that I have, is to get my absolute value bars by themselves. In this case, my absolute value bars already are by themselves, so I can break this into my two solutions. So x plus 6 equals 21, and x plus 6 equals negative 21. Okay, so how do I get the x by itself? Subtract, so I'm going to subtract 6, subtract 6, subtract 6, subtract 6. Those 6's then cancel. These 6's cancel. I bring my x's straight down. And what's 21 minus 6? 15. So my first x equals 15. What's negative 21 minus 6? Negative 27. So my second answer would be negative 27. Okay, so let's do another one. I look at 16. I have 3 times the absolute value of y plus 4 equals 4. I'm working to get my absolute value equations by themselves. So what do I need to get rid of first? A 4. So how do I get rid of a plus 4? Minus 4. Bring my 3 times the absolute value of y straight down. What's 4 minus 4? 0. Okay, so I'm still trying to get my absolute value bars by themselves. So what's my next step? We're multiplying by 3. How do I get rid of multiplication? Divide. So I'm going to divide by 3. So then if I bring that down, absolute value of y equals, what's 0 divided by 3? 0. Okay. My absolute value bars are now by themselves, so I can break this into my two solutions. First solution, it stays the same, so y equals 0. What would my second solution be? Negative 0, and since negative 0 doesn't exist, or it exists, but we don't worry about it, we just have two solutions at y equals 0. Okay, so let's look at our last one, 17. The absolute value of x plus 6 plus 2 equals 1. I'm still working to get these absolute value bars by themselves, so I'm going to subtract 2. So the absolute value of x plus 6 equals what? Negative 1. Okay. Now what? Okay, so if I were to break up my two solutions, what would I get? Exactly, we can't have an absolute value that's a negative, so we don't worry about breaking it into our two solutions. We just know that once we see this negative 1, that it is no solutions, and we are done with that problem.